Hi everyone. Welcome to the stream. Today is actually March 30th, so we're gonna have our One Piece flagship. So my name is Francis. I'm from currently in residing in Cebu. So
What's up, guys? Welcome to Top Tech Games flagship tournament for this month. And of course, Francis, this is super exciting because this is the last time people are able to play Sakazuki, the big man himself.
exactly.
Mabs going first, throwing down the searcher Bonney, despite knowing the fact it will be answered by Kendo, but of course, it's not yet answerable because uh, RP Luffy does need to return 3 dons. So going second, only 2 dons. Mobs will be forced to activate the effect right now to not waste that effect, but we will be expecting Kendo to answer it, or at least at the very least attack into it. What do you think, Francis?
I would try to set up the board right away. But the problem is that if he's going to try and rush, the one standing Dawn in the Bonnie side will just nullify it. Just one attacker anyway. But either way, it's still the very early turn, so Kendo has to set up a board. Probably take away the searcher because if the searcher just remains in the field, he's just gonna get a free search every turn. Oh, look at that!
Yeah, and going with the pawn clay, that's a power move right there. Adding 1 don, I think Kendo will be having will be obviously answering that Bonnie searcher, but is deciding whether to attack with the law or to use the effect. But I think using the effect is much more beneficial to him as to not waste any attacks because that law can easily go to the leader. Oh no, he does choose to attack into the searcher. He's not
Eh?
planning to use the law effect right now. I think that takes a lot of discipline from Kendo here, but
Mhm.
at the same time, he could have actually used it to call a to call any units because again, as Francis just said, he wants to set up a board, but I don't think he has any board that he wants to set up right now. I think that Bonney is going into the Bond Clay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the swinging for the Bonclay. Yeah, they
Ooh,
do fight it.
no, he does not swing it in the Bond Clay, attacking to the leader and using the X Drake to block to destroy that Bond Clay. Actually, very good play here from from Michael. Going with the I think he just recently played Bonnie
Mhm.
and he is actually showing some mastery with the deck already. This is actually very powerful tempo moves from here, blocking those early attacks. And do you think it's time, Francis, for the law to do its thing?
Honestly, yeah, of course. Since Bonnie doesn't have any defensive dawns or open, so Kendo can just set up his board freely as much as he wants. He does set up the film that minuses the power, and
Yeah, the
he
Gordon.
can
Yeah.
mhm. And then he can call any card, especially if the power reaches a certain threshold. He can KO it, and oh, he does use loss skill to -3 dawn and put it to the bottom of the deck, and that's called a law from his hand. So the law call is free, and does the law activate for his
No,
play?
because Law needs the opponent to have 7 hand cards, but as you can see, Michael has 4.
Right. So it does serve as a defensive blocker for now,
Oh.
and Kendo still has 4 active zone remaining. So
Yeah, I think that was the problem because Kendo put too much Dawn into the leader, basically wasting those 4 cards. I think he could have called the kid instead
mhm.
because calling the kid 5 and then you have proper Dawn management. But here the 4 Dawns right now is practically wasted.
Oh, does
And
call the 5. Oh,
and here we go, the Bonnie SR.
mhm.
The leader cannot restand. Michael is taking the tempo turns super strongly here. I think the effect is character or dawn. So
Oh, does stand.
yeah, it does stand because Bonnie's effect is character or dawn because there is no rested dawn and there is no rested characters. Uh, Michael doesn't have really a choice here.
Ah,
So I think that was the mistake right
mhm.
there.
Okay. He does swing for the leader. Will Michael actually rest the law?
Ooh, he
Oh,
doesn't.
it does. It doesn't. He just takes it. Okay. So it takes the first damage. He's now down to blocks. Now Kendo has about Dawn, I believe, to work
5.
with. Oh, yes, total 6.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 6.
Correct. Okay, so he does play the
Gordon.
Gordon Captain Kid. Does bottom just pretty good. And now he will play one more skill of law. So what because 4 or less. So does play double.
Ooh, this is a very
Wow.
slightly bad hand for Kendo because as a low player, you want to be as aggressive as possible with your hands with full of killer kids, Zoros, but
Mm.
with a handful of blocker kid and blocker law, you're not really pushing for defensive here. But your field is filled with defensive options. So I don't really
Right.
think it's a bad hand per se, but it's not the hand you want to see as a law player.
I agree.
Mm. So, Mabula here going all in with
Oh
the
wow.
with the Bonney attacking into that kid. I mean, into that law.
All right. So the law does go away. He still has about 6 dawns to work with. Will he call? So it's short. He probably should have a. Oh, so he does have the law, green law in hand. He's going to try and save it for a killer turn.
Ooh, passing the turn with nothing.
That's actually weird. He has a lot of dawns to save, but I'd say that's
Yeah, that's true. It is a very wasted turn, not gonna lie, because you only need one when you're playing Bonney, anyways, during the opponent's turn. And I don't see any counters. So Kendo here will be going with the offensive. He doesn't really care about anything at the moment, so the blockers can just go in and attack.
Yep. Does takes the first damage from the Captain Kid.
'Cause
So there should be okay. Will Kendo swing for the law? The leader law. So does swing with the leader law. It's 5k, and all right, and will rest the blocker. So Kendo has 5 dawns remaining. He can work with. So he does call the. Oh
Oh
wow!
wow, this is a very good field right now. I mean,
Oh
I understand that it's not really the most optimal uh cards you want to see, but of course, it's not really an issue, and I can already see what Mabulay or Michael is trying to do here. He's going to slam down that Zoro. I think that's it, or I think he's going with the either the Kid 8. It's either Zorosek or Kid 8.
yeah,
Both are very good options at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And going with the
Okay,
Zoro.
he does go for
That
the
is
Zoro.
got triple attacks right now. This is gonna be super scary for Kendo, especially with the field that Michael is currently controlling.
Mm-hmm.
Both players still at 3 life. Michael doesn't really care even if he goes down to 0 at this point because Kendo cannot still pressure for the win, especially with only 3 hand cards and nothing in the hand has any rush because Ace 7 needs to have a Whitebeard leader to even gain rush.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
now
yeah.
Kendo's biggest option right now is try to get the Zoro away, but I don't think he has the hand for it. So he's just gonna swing at Bonney. And Michael's just defending it as much as he can because he can go ahead and kill with Zoro alive on the field. Let's call it with the ace, and we'll play the
Ooh, minus 5k. That's
minus
4k.
5K. That's already
Oh no,
nine,
minus
nine.
6.
-9. It goes away.
Yeah, that's 3k. It goes away, going all in for that removal option. Very strong play from Kendo here. He's at the very least, I'm gonna be saying he was actually forced to answer that kid. I mean that Zoro because you're gonna be eating at least 3 attacks later on if you're not gonna answer it. But
Yep.
right now, we can see that Michael has a lot of options here.
Yep.
But the question is, can you survive that very powerful turn from Kendo?
I think he can. He can slow it down at the very least. He does have the 10 cost Doflamingo in his hand. So he can stun the leader and the 2 characters, and he's only Kendo will only be left with the ace and the other character.
Yeah, and I see what he's doing.
Okay.
He's going to be calling the kid, activating the effect, calling a card, but of course,
He's forced
forced to do nothing at the moment, saving that 1 Dawn for the rest character for the control option here. Kendo be answering that Zoro was beautiful play here. He needed to answer that Zoro, and right now, Michael doesn't have any other backup plays other than being defensive. So as long as
as Captain Kid remains on field, he is safe. He just needs to guard very minimally because it's sitting at what 9k, right?
8, it should be 8.
Okay, he's sitting at 8k. That's still better than compared to guarding a 5k. So Kendo is forced to throw away a lot of dawns so that he can be able to kill the Captain Kid. Now he's just trying to allocate how much Dawn he can work with. Okay, he's going all in.
Yeah, going all in that kid. I think Michael has no other choice but to rest something right now just to force the issue. But of course, that kid is going to be answered. Bye bye. No more defensive options for you, Michael. But it all depends on all hinges on what card remains on Kendo's hand. But I
Okay,
don't. Yeah,
there is one Dawn remaining, so that could be a defensive or defensive event that could be able to block at least one attack, but I don't think it's worth it.
ooh, Michael taking the damage here.
Oh, okay. So he does. Kendo does pass turn. So he has one Dawn to work with, but I don't know. It's that's compared to Bonney. Like Bonney has a lot of defensive options.
Blocking
Whoa.
that beautifully played here. He needed that one extra card because he was already expecting the Doffy from not from being slammed down here. He needed one more character on the board. Now I think that's going all in on the leader here. Hachi and Penguin going all in. All also depends on what card Kendo has in his hand. He's saving up Dawn to be able to play the card here, blocking that attack.
Wow.
Wow. And here we go for, I think that's a killer kid. Or I think Kendo is not planning to play
No,
anything.
he threw away the. Oh, if it's Killer and Kid, that's actually really good.
Yeah, if it's killer and kid, that is a very good play here. Very strong play here from Kendo. Michael doesn't have any more answers in his hand.
Mhm.
He discarded 3 hand cards just for that Hachi and Penguin.
Oh, he does pass.
Ooh,
Oh.
passing that. Oh, do you see that?
Yeah, I
Do you
saw
see that?
Oh, yes.
That is an extra Doffy. One more turn here for for Michael to
Oh,
be able
God.
to not allow Kendo to play. What?
Oh, he's choosing to attack. Oh, he's trying to clear the board. Is he trying to clear the board to minus the amount of attacks for his next turn? Okay, he does give away the ace. Kendo does have the last card in his hand. He doesn't want to use it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what. Maybe we didn't see it properly. Going 15k to what? Your opponent only has 1 hand card.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessary to throw away that big of an attack. Okay, so you swing at the kid.
Yeah.
Okay, the kid does die and
Passing the turn.
Oh.
Yeah, so we were right. That was a Doff in hand. It was an AA Doffy, but Michael just choosing not to play it, which is weird.
Yeah. I thought he would be able to stun at least one more attack. Take away the character that the penguin that can still attack. So that Kendo is only forced to call something from hand for the next turn because the other 3 cannot attack at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I think, yeah, Kendo here going all in. -3 Dons, calling the killer kid. We were expecting it. Mabulay!
The kid and killer.
Kendo taking the win here. Beautiful play from Kendo.
Okay, so the game has started. So right now it's Enel will start first with their turn, and they will pass it. Moria will also go ahead and draw and pass. So a lot of their main characters, their staples are usually more than 1 cost, and not like the same with the rest of the other character. Some specific decks that could have cost 1 characters. All right, Enel does swing for 1, and Moria does take it. Oh, and does plays Shirahoshi. Okay, so that's pass turn. Does get the draw. Now it's Moria's turn. He will swing 7 to leader. And Moria's skill is going to be activated, so he does rest 2 to call. Okay, so does discard the Perona and trashes 2 from the top deck. And he gets to call from the trash. So he does call out, I believe he will call out the Perona. So he does call out the Perona and forces the discard onto the Enel. Enel will take it. And it's a trigger hero Shirahoshi, and he will get to draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards. So anything that is in Ram's hand is going to be that are useless. He can just throw it away. So Moria does pass the turn. I can see that he has. I can see that Jikko does have the blockers in his hand. It doesn't have the. Okay, so he has a lot of the discards that he can use to clear the board. Does retire out the Perona, and on the swing for a free 5k will be blocked. Moria now sitting at 6. Ooh, just gonna call out 1 to mill out the 5. Oh, there it is. There's the Gecko Moria cost 8 that is very good in the deck. So, and the rest of the cards are actually also helpful. Um, it depends also what Jikko will do that will allow him to cycle back cards into the field. So, does call it. Will he play the on call effect? But he doesn't. He can call it. So he does swing with the Moria leader. Discards the Absalom, and I see the Lucci enter the trash. So that can be fetched out later for the Gakomoria. So does call out the Absalom and does retire one of Ram's characters. Nice, nice, nice. Now is Enel's turn. What will he do? Enel is sitting at 2 lives, so that's still pretty okay. If he has anything to heal up, then he will probably be saved for later. And we'll swing vanilla for 5. And also the Shirahoshi. Okay, so Shirahoshi 0 gets the 5 Dawn and swings for 5. 2 active Dawns. What will he play? Okay, so he does play a 2 cost Shirahoshi and will pass the turn. Moria is already doing his work, trying to fill up the field 3 to 3. But the 0 power Shirahoshi doesn't do much. So that cost 1 will take away the Shirahoshi. Nikomori is still very much alive. On the Dons, he can play. From what I can see, he has 2 blockers. One is I believe that would be that one is Black Sabo, and the other one is the other guy that cannot be KO'd. The Absalom is also pretty good. Okay, Absalom swinging vanilla for 5, and now does take it. But the way he's checking the life, it is most likely a trigger. The question is, what trigger is it? And will he proc it or not? Because it's a free heal. Well, a heal is a heal. Right now, I can see Jikko has about 8 active dons. So if he has, I did not see any. Yeah, he doesn't have the Gecko Moria on the hand. Oh, okay, it was an Onami. So the Onami does proc. The Onami retires the Absalom. It's now Moria's turn to swing. Will pay the 2 cost and discard 1 card from hand. The question is, what will it be? Will it be the Absalom? Yep, it will be the Absalom. And he gets to mill 2 and calls back out that card. Okay, so the character skill is that he allows to draw, to fetch a card from the trash as long as you bark pirate, and he also cycles back. So it does get the Moria. The 8 cost Moria will help definitely in the next turn because he can either field wipe or protect his board. Since his opponent is only 2 cost 2s, that doesn't really do much. But if he calls out the Lucci, he will KO one of the Shirahoshis. Okay, so he will take it and proc Enel skill to get the free heal, and does play the Sabo to draw 2, and he has to discard. All right, what will he discard? Something that is not quite as useful. He does have still deciding. Will he throw it away? I don't think it's that big of a deal if he throws it away, but he will. Because he has a lot of 2k guards in his hand. Okay, he will throw it away. Does play the Sabo and he passes the turn. It's now Enel's turn. The setup is somewhat there for Jikko. Okay, does play the Yamato. He will KO. What will he KO? Oh, he can KO. Right. He can KO. So he just swings Enel Vanilla and he passes the turn. But does get that heal, which helps Enel a lot, especially since, uh, he gets to proc his kill again for the next time he gets to 0 damage or 0 life rather. Now he can choose to swing vanilla. Jikko can swing vanilla with Moria. 5Ks. And I believe that's a 5K or 4K blocker for the side of Sabo. The other side 3K. And a bunch of 3Ks. Will he do? Swing. Okay, does swing vanilla for 5K. So Hogback will swing 5K vanilla. Okay, we'll throw away the 1K guard. Oh, it's a 2K guard. So that Jikko is now fetching extra info. That actually plays a lot, especially since you know your opponent has 2k shields. Will he swing? All right, will swing vanilla. Oh, he's just swinging for 6. Okay, so he does have the extra Dawn to play into Moria. Okay. Question is, what will Ram do? He's still sitting at 2 life, and he can just take it whenever. So he does take it, and will not proc a trigger if it is a trigger. Now Jikko swinging again for the. Oh, okay. So he's choosing to attack with the Sabo. Okay, so Ram guards it. That's a 2k guard with the. Believe that's the Beige. Yeah, it's the Beige. Swing 2k, 3k, 6. All right. Let's see. 5k vanilla swing, or is he going to call? Blockers are rested. Ram is still. Well, Jikko still has plenty of life to work with. Enel is still happily sitting at, but can heal as much as he wants. That one, as long as the Enel skill is still there and he can still get one life. Okay, we'll trash it. Ooh, pass his turn. It's now Enel's turn. What will Ram play? He can play. I would say what would work would be something. Okay, he will swing at the hogback. 5k vanilla. We'll guard it for 1k. And plays, okay, the 10 cost ace. Does swing with a rush. And Sabo dies. And okay, so Enel is now back to 2 life. So that's gonna be actually very annoying for Jikko. Okay. He wants to have as much as possible leave him at 1, but with the new support of Enel, there's a lot of healing that he can do. So it's really difficult to kill Enel, especially since Enel's innate ability allows him to just gain a free extra life after hitting 0 once per turn. Okay, Hogback swinging 5k to leader for vanilla. 5k takes 1. If it's a Beige or a Nonami, one of those 2 characters will die. If it's a Beige, even the leader cannot attack. Or unless it's a Shirahoshi, he's allowed to draw 3 and discard 2. Okay, I guess right. It's a Shirahoshi. Does proc the trigger to draw 3 and discard 2. That actually pretty good, especially since he has to discard use the discards that he doesn't need anymore. And let's say Ram goes back to 1 again, goes to 0, procs Enel skill. If he gets to 0 life and if he has the Yamato, I cannot see properly from his hand. If he does got the Yamato or the another 10 cost ace, he's allowed to heal and Enel skill is online yet again. Still deciding to discard 2. Okay, does discard it. So he does discard the Raigo, and I believe the other one is an Onami. Okay, so leader swinging 5k to, I believe, the leader. Ace is just going to be sitting happily. Oh, okay, so Jikko is still thinking about it. Will he give extra power to Moria? But Jikko has a Moria in his hand. He can still proc it. He has 3 characters on field. What will he? The Helmepo, as I believe that was a Rebecca? Not exactly. No, that's 2C pala. So he has a 9 cost 2C and a Helmepo. And now also Ram does take the 1 extra life, 1 extra damage. Okay, so it's a trigger. Okay, so he can't KO, but does discard it to be able to heal. All right, Helmepo swings. That is, I believe, 7k. Oh, okay, it's 5k. So, Ram guards it 2k. Here comes the 8 cost Moria. So he's allowed to go through his trash. Oh, that was drop 1 by accident. So Jikko goes through his trash to look for 2 cards. One has to be, both of them has to be 4 cost or less. One can be played active and the other one rested. Oh no, one has to be 4 cost or less, and the other has to be 2 cost or less. My bad. So if it was 2 cost, I would say Well, the hound blocker can help very much also in this turn. He can also think of the bring out the brand new. If he has the Rebecca somewhere there, I did not see if he got a Rebecca, but there's no Rebecca, I believe. Okay, so he will bring out the brand new as well as the Borsalino. Okay, so he has the 4 cost blocker that turns into 6k on his opponent's turn, and he will proc out the brand new. The brand new allows him to check top 3, reveal it, and choose one navy that is not a brand new and add it to hand. The rest goes to the trash. So I believe. Okay, so he does swing with the Stussy, and he will pass the turn. Okay, Enel is still very much active. If Ram has a ace or Yamato, that will help him a lot. All right, so Enel swing at the hogback. Jikko, 3 cards in hand. Will he block it or will he let it slide? I believe I would say it would be save it. I don't know. He still has another Stussy in hand. The ace uh is very much dead if he plays the other Stussy from hand. If it's not the ace, if Ram has another Yamato, he plays the Stussy, well, the Yamato or the ace will sadly go away. So, still deciding his plan whether to give away the hogback or not. Or is he attacking leader? I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so does guard 1k. Alright, so ace does attack. That's 10k to, I believe, Stussy? Yeah, so he does attack the Stussy. That's a 2k guard. And does play the Katakuri. The Katakuri will go to the, will force Jikko to put Moria to the bottom of the deck. And then plays another Shirahoshi. Now Jiko's turn. That actually is very good on the side of uh NL, because the Katakuri no Katakuri, the Gecko Moria is actually a big threat. But the problem is also if you go into the later stages of the game, uh you if you survive as Moria, you can play Moria again. But at the same time, the Moria is now a useless dead card late game, especially if you have to defend. So right now, Jiko is thinking what to do. NL is already filled up the board with Shirahoshis, an ace, and a Katakuri. What will he do? He's now supposed to fetch something in his trash that could otherwise help him. The Shirahoshis are blockers, so he still has to eat through 2 blockers. So NL sitting with 3 takes away the 1 life. That would be down to still 3. Oh no, yeah, it will still go down to 3. He's forced to discard 1. He'll still gain 1, and he still has 2 blockers to be able to save himself with. So Jigo has to find a way to take away the 2 blockers. If he Moria, if he gets another Moria, okay, so he does. He is counting costs, trying to map out his turn. All right, so you choose to swing with the 5k. I believe he's gonna swing 5k to leader. Yeah, he will swing 5k to leader. What will Ram do? So 5k leader. Oh, is he taking back his move? He does have Ice Age. He can block what? Oh wait, with the Ice Age, if he calls something from, okay, so Jiko can call something from his trash to KO one of the blockers. What's he gonna do with the Ice Age? The only thing you can target is for that Ice Age. I say it would be Katakuri, because the Shirahoshis are more or less like within range to be KO'd. If he minus fives the cost on the category, then he will. Okay, so he does block with 1. Moria can fetch. Well, the Moria is gone, so he cannot do anything about that. He has. He is forced to decide how to attack. Take away one of the Shirahoshis, but at the same time, there are 2 attackers on the side of Enel That's actually really good. So the category in the ace, two blockers and a zero attack power Shirohoshi. Can swing and all at the characters. Because Jikko's hand is pretty much really bad. He's trying to fetch a character from drop, but I wouldn't waste the hand for it. But if you can swing to discard your opponent's hands, even better. Alright. This pattern. Will it be a 5k to 9 to possibly 6 the KO? Completely. Okay, so he will swing 6 to leader. He has no choice. He cannot attack anything else. So 6 to leader. Question is whether Ram will let it happen. He does let it happen, and does check the life. He's not sure whether to proc the trigger or not, judging by how he's just waiting there. The fact that he checked, that means he's already taking that last card. The question is whether he will proc it or not. Either add to hand or he has to discard it and gain another life due to Enel's skill. Thinking, what is okay? So he does. Okay, so he does choose to discard it for the cost of Enel skill and gains one more life. It's now back to Moria's turn. Now Stussy does swing for 9 and will sacrifice one of the Shirohoshis for that, and does call the Stussy to take away the Karakuri, the ace rather, and does pass the turn. That's -1 threat on the side of Enel, but the category still remains alive as well as the one blocker Shirohoshi. And okay, the Yamato does come out and takes away the hogback and heals one more life. That's actually really good. Yamato does get the rush now. Swing 9k to Stussy. Yeah, okay, he's choosing to block it. So Yamato still has the rush, I believe, or is it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Yamato has the rush. Enel can swing 5k to leader. Oh, okay. So Yamato doesn't have the rush, rather. This is a different one. So this Yamato just allows him to heal and take damage. Take a KO one character. So it's now up to Enel to fight. Whether is he gonna? Okay, he does actually pass the turn. He doesn't want to give Jikko an extra hand that could probably work for him. Oh, and I saw Jikko pull out the. All right, he does get out the Sabo blocker. The Sabo blocker allows him to not be able to be KO'd until the end of next turn. If he plays it, he gets to draw 2 and trash 2. But the thing is, his hand is already pretty bad because Ram is choosing to not attack Jikko. Well, Stussy does try to take away the category, and he does get the category away. Okay, it's now still an open field. 10 Dons are still active. It wouldn't matter as much since Enel is still at 2 life. Jikko swings 7k. 8. Oh, okay. Swing 8 to leader. Jikko finally does proc the skill of to discard the calls out hogback. Hogback skill is to hogback skill procs, fetches, cycles back 2 cards and fetches back the very very nice. So no triggers proc on the side of an Ram, and will call out the Sabo and discard. I saw a second Moria from the draw 2. Still has to throw it away sadly because he already has Gecko Moria. Oh, and a Rebecca. Oh my god, that's actually really good. So Jikko, if he plays out the Gecko Moria, he can call out the Rebecca, gets a 4-cost blocker on field, and gets to cycle cards back to his hand. Stussy can still swing. He's just giving Enel fuel to proc triggers. Oh, does take it. Enel will take it. It's up to him whether to proc the trigger or not. Will he do? Okay, he does discard it for the cost of Enel. And alright, so Jikko passes the turn. So it's another useless card in the side of Ram's life. Okay. Oh, 8 cost. It's Katakuri, isn't it? Alright, does play the Katakuri and puts the Sabo blocker away. It's now 9k each. The Stussies are vulnerable to the attack of Yamato, but that won't matter as much because Enel will have to swing. Okay, so he does choose to 11k at the Stussies. Does sacrifice one Stussie, so it won't matter as much because Jikko does have the Gecko Moria in his 8 cost Gecko Moria in his hand, so he can still cycle cards. Still at 1 life. Oh, the Gecko Moria and Perona. The Perona is also very good because of 2k shield. We'll swing 6k to Enel. Hogback will have to swing 6k to Enel. Throws away the Beige. That's a 2k shield. Is it Gecko Moria? Will Gecko Moria come out now? Will Stussy come out? Alright, swing 6k to leader. Will not pay the cost for it himself. The Gecko Moria is so clutch here. Okay, so Ram will take it and proc Enel skill. It's a risky play as well since if he gets the event that allows him to heal, I believe is the Amaru, he'll be able to heal up. Or if it's not Amaru, then it's okay. So he's not proccing. Okay. So Enel skill gone. Oh, was it an Onami? Oh, okay. I think it was an Onami. The Onami does KO. Okay, so it does heal. Oh, he's not 3, 6. Oh, okay. So 3, 6, 8, 9. Okay, so he's 9. The banter right there. Okay, so does play out the Gecko Morio. What will he fetch? There's a lot of good cards there. There's the 4 cost blocker Rebecca. He can play into Lucci. Oh, okay. So he Hogback? Oh, for the Hogback. Why Hogback? Okay, so Hogback. And will he play? Okay, so he plays the Hogback and brand new. Okay, so he plays Hogback and brand new. So Hogback, he will proc a Hogback skill first. So if I were to assess the current board state, okay, he does get 2k shields and drops. Okay, draws 2, discard 2. The rest are put to the bottom. So Jikko practically prepped himself for the next turn. He has another Moria in hand. Will he swing with Stussy though? He has 1 life. He already proc Enel skill. Enel still has the one share horseshoe blocker. He can swing technically with the Stussy, but he chooses not to. Okay. So Stussy remains active. He doesn't want his Stussy to die. It's now Enel's turn. What will he play to be able to save? Okay, 8 cost. That's another Katakuri coming. And will put away the Moria. Okay, Jikko has a lot of life. I believe he's at 6. From what I'm seeing, he's at 6 life. So technically a lot of good cards that are in the life, but they're also technically useless when he's trying to defend himself. He will swing 5k to the brand new. Brand new will go away. He still has the category as well as the Yamato to attack. Will he attack though? And I'm pretty sure he will because there are no more blockers. Does swing 9k to leader. Will take Jikko can afford to take it, so he does take it. And now it's the category Yamato turn. One more attack. And no trigger procs. It's now Jikko's turn. What? He does have the Moria. So he can still play the longer game, but the longer the time goes, the faster they will get double loss. So they're all 8Ks. Is assessing whether to do it or not. Oh, he has a Rebecca in hand. Oh, that's actually good. The Rebecca blocker. But would he play? So swing 5k. Ram only has 2 cards in hand. He can technically afford it. Plays 4 for the Rebecca. Wow, actually. Wow, he's choosing to play defensively? Or is he gonna take back his turn? Okay, so he will take back the 4 cost and will swing vanilla to Enel. Wow. Does take it. Enel skill proc and he does discard, so there's still 2 more attacks. It's now Ram's. He's still down to 2 cards in hand. technically, Jikko can actually push for it if he calls. Yeah, if Jikko calls out the Moria, let's say he's swinging for 6k, 7k or 8k. He plays out to call Absalom. He can KO the Shirahoshi blocker, right? He can play the Shiro. He can play Absalom to KO the Shirahoshi blocker. He still has the 2C that is active. What can Enel do? There's also zero. Did he put away the Absalom? Wait, what's the Absalom cost? I'm presuming it's supposed to be cost 2 or less, right? Oh, yeah. He can KO the. Okay, he's choosing to swing 5k lang. Okay, Enel does that. Does take away the extra life. The last life, Enel is now at the mercy. Does KO the Shirahoshi. 3 cards in hand. 4 cost. Ooh. I think the game would have ended if he just called out the Absalom. Wouldn't it? Yeah, he could have. Okay, so he will call out the Rebecca. Rebecca skill procs. He is gonna fetch out and cycle 2 cards. What will he fetch though? He has to play 1 cost with the cost of 3, 3 or less black character. Oh, he does pass. Okay, so he can't call anything. It's now Enel's turn. He still has 1 life. Choosing to play the safe route. There's 2 blockers now on the side of Jikko. And they cannot be KO'd by card effects. Still healthy at 3 life. And I saw Ram has the 10 cost ace. He's going to heal. Alright, so he does swing with the category first. That's 8k. 8, and 9. What will you do, Jikko? I'm pretty sure Ram will play the 10 cost ace to heal himself back up to 1. Enel's skill will proc again. Back online. He will be able to tank 2 more hits. He's going to choose to defend himself. Okay. So he will choose to throw away the Rebecca. Still very healthy. No life. Plays the the ace. He will heal 1. Gets a rush. They're now thinking on how to play it out. Okay, so Enel is gonna swing vanilla. This will be 5k. Okay, he's swinging at the hogback. Will he allow to give the hogback away? I would say it's not that worth it. 5k beat is a 5k beat stick, but sure. Guard 5k? Guard 1 counter. Okay, does throw the Perona away. Now he still has the Karakuri as well as the Yamato to attack with. Does swing 8k to the hogback. Now that's a free takeaway. Yamato can swing at the Stussy if he wants to, or he can swing at the Moria, which is a bad idea because the one waiting on the top of the life would be Moria. So if he attacks the leader, he will be able to get the Moria back. Okay, so he does get the Moria back if he allows it to hit. Is he contemplating how to? Very long, man. Both sides is like very control heavy. One is just managing life. Okay, so Yamato does swing at the Stussy. He won't. I'm pretty sure he won't let it slide, so he does guard it with a 2k guard, and does call out the ace with the rush, and he's back up to 1. Swing 10 again to Stussy, but will be blocked by the 2k shield. Now it's Jikko's turn. Will be able to turn the tides. Enel has only very few hand cards left and 1 life. There is no blocker on the other Shirahoshi, so he can still swing 3. All 3 can hit. And if he gets a blocker for whatever reason, if he plays a card that has a blocker that can be called out, he can still technically KO it with Moria's skill. Calling out. So what they do to push? Your opponent only has 0 Dawn. And has, I believe, the zero cost guard, but have to discard. You're the one who should disappear. Okay, so does swing 7 if he will push for 7, so that he's now swinging for 7. No, he will take back. Ooh, what? There's nothing else that he can has rush in the side of Black. He is contemplating what to do. He has one blocker, but he has to survive like 4 attacks worth 8, 8, 9, and 10 without having to spend any form of Dawn. And he still has the other Shiroshi. He can just spend five Dawns to give it a free attack. Because the rest of the cards in his life have no shield value whatsoever. So he has to make it sure that he can kill him this turn. If not, he has to play a card that can allow him to bring back Garters onto his field. 10k? 10k swing? That's actually really big. Will he swing it at? Swing at the Atakuri. So he has to sacrifice at least a 3k shield, but he doesn't know that Ram can actually afford it, but will Ram want to block it? That's a 3k it's the you should disappear order card. Calculating. He's not exactly sure. I think the time he's getting close to time. Could be in the final 3 turns. I have no timer here, sadly. Attaching 3 Dawns. He's also gonna attach 2 more on the side of Sabo. Technically, all will hit. All right, he's gonna swing with the Sabo first. That's 6k, 8k. Has he gone through? And what is the likelihood that he's going to be able to block? 8k is your magic number here at this time. Will swing. Jikko finalizing the 8k? Or is he gonna attach 1 more? Right, so he will afford the 9k. Alright. So he does finalize 9k to leader. Enel will have to take it. He has to hope a beige a beige to help him. Or at least one of the events that will allow him to heal. To survive. Either way, Enel's skill will proc. It is a trigger. He is contemplating whether to proc it or not. Okay, so it is the reject. So it does proc a draw if he wants to. Oh, okay, he's choosing to. Hey, sorry. Sorry na Anjo. Sorry na Anton. Okay, so does heal out 1. 9k. 6. Full swing 11. So Ram does have to take it. Okay, that's it. Swinging for the final 11. Will it be the end of the game? That's the end of the game. GG's, GG's. As you can see right now, it's Dave on the left side with Law, and Jikko remaining the same as Moria. Right now, it is Jikko's turn to attack with the Moria. Does proc out the skill of Moria. Will take out the Absalom. Discard the Borsalino as well as the Granny to KO one of the Gordons. The Gordons actually is gonna help him really well here because Laura wants to put away key cards to the bottom of the deck. It doesn't have to be in the trash. So that's actually really good. Especially, let's say, late game. So Jikko does call out the Gakumoria. He can put that to bottom, or if he plays the Borsalino that he just got, he can also put that to the bottom without KOing it. Because some of the cards are also immune to KOs. So Law bypasses that with his own skill. Ooh, he does get out. Ooh, he does get it. The Bond Clay. Will he play the Bond Clay though this early? He can, or he can also choose to ramp up. He has this. He has the story card, the movie card that allows him. He can play Ein to gain an extra Dawn, ramp him up. Okay, he chooses not to. He's just gonna swing vanilla 5k. Since it's still the first damage, he can still take it. Jikko is still deciding how to block it, or is he willing to be able to take it? It's still the first damage, so he can afford to take one. Dave can also choose to ramp up so he has more dawns to work with on the next turn. He will block it and does set up his trash with the hogback. Go to bottom, 3k power to Absalom, and will play in to get the and will proc the skill of will proc out the skill of law to bottom one card uh of 3k or less, so the Absalom does go away. The question now is what will Dave play to substitute? He can play any card as long as it's a 4 cost or less. So ideally it can be it's actually pretty okay from what I can see to play the Bond Clay. If it's not the Bond Clay, he can also play the Shirayu to have a blocker setup, and thus choose to play out the Bond Clay and give himself a ramp. So past turn, it's now Moria's turn. He does go into 5 Dawn, but since both are 4k, they're actually a lot more annoying to deal with. Since he cannot KO them right off the bat, he has to play cards to minus the cost. So from what I can see, he can play into the skill of Moria that allows him to call out the hogback to get a to recycle cards back to his hand. But currently, I don't think it's that worth it. Or is he just gonna call straight from hands? He will choose to swing big. That will be an 8k with costs. He has another Absalom he can discard, or he can also choose to call out the Perona. But the Perona is not worth it because his Dave's hand is pretty low. So we'll have to discard it also hogback. So thus discard the hogback. Mill 3. Okay, so all three all three cards that entered the trash are actually pretty good. So he will call out the Perona. Don't forget to rest those 2 down. So okay, he's choosing to take back the Perona. He's still deciding what to play. Will he call out the hogback? At least if he gets the hogback, he can fetch back the Perona and gets a free 2k shield. So yeah, he will do exactly that. Cycle back the Perona and he will attack as his 8k, and Dave does take it. So that will end Jikko's turn, and it's now Dave's turn. So from what I can see, Jikko-san is actually pretty decent. It's not the greatest, especially since he has majority of them don't have that big shield apart from the Perona. And Dave can just whatever he calls out, he can always put it to the bottom of the deck. So right now, it's actually pretty weird in a weird position now because if he takes out the hogback, which I wouldn't say is that worth. If he puts the hogback to the bottom, then Jikko has no trash to work with. Well, apart from Moria's innate ability, so there will be a +3 to the trash. Right. So Dave does swing vanilla 5k to leader. Only needs to guard 1k. And from what I can see in Dave's hand, he has one more cost 1 card to be able to bottom a card. Give minus 3k power again. It's the same as the Gordon. It is Gordon. And he still has the Shirayu in hand. And I'm not exactly sure. I remember seeing also a Sanji. A 6 cost Sanji blocker. And there you can see it. It's the Gordon card, Sanji, as well as the Shirayu. Oh, if you can see it from the top left card of Dave's hand, that is most likely a queen guard, a queen blocker. So Dave's hand is actually very, very defensive. There's no rush pieces for him to work with. He can choose to set up a defensive board or not. Okay, he does swing 6k to leader with the Ein. And still has 4 down to work with. It's only 2k guard for the side of Jikko. Now ask what will be the power of Bonkley? Bonkley will only choose also any character and just mimics the power. So since there is a Hog back there, he can mimic 5k. But at the same time, if he attacks with Bone Clay, that will be susceptible to attack because Bone Clay is only 1k power. And does play out the Shirayu and the Gordon. Technically, it's raise max, but the ability is the same as Gordon. Dave does pass the turn. It's actually a pretty good state. It's a very defensive state rather on the side of Dave, and his hand is nothing more of defensive attackers, defensive characters rather. Mhm. If we can find more options for rush, let's say for example, the grade 3 Zoro, or it could also be the Kid and Killer Rush. The Kid and Killer Rush is actually very very good in this set because it swings 8k if your opponent is 2 or less life and has rush. I mean, not 8k, rather 7k. My bad. Jikko now at 7 done, still short of the Moria turn, but he can still do something with the hand that he has. Can play more blockers like the Borsalino, and or he can choose to also whale down here his opponent's field. So he does that. He takes out the Ein, and Moria swings at leader for 6k. Can pay the cost, but the question is, what will he call out? He can. He has a. He has, I believe, one Absalom in the trash. Okay, there's the Great Eruption as well as the Sabo. Does play out the Absalom, and he has no choice but to kill out the Race Max. So the Race Max does get KO'd, and it's now swinging 6-2 leader. And if he wants, if Dave wants to, he can block with the Shiryu. Does play the Shiryu, and the Shiryu skill procs. He will mimic the power, the base power of Moria for this turn, and then he can just block an extra 1k so that he gets to survive. So until the end of the remaining end of his Dave's next turn. Okay, so the Shiryu is now stuck at, I believe, now 5k because it's copying the base power. And Dave, he draws into the Reiju, so that's actually pretty good because he can Dave can try to fetch better cards that can help him in this turn. So he has a lot of cards. He has a lot of Dawn to work with. He only needs 4 at the moment. He plays out the Reiju, draws 2. Since his hand is like less than his opponent, he can draw up to 2 cards. The question is whether or not he's going to do it, or he plays into the Sanji blocker. So the Sanji blocker, I believe, will when you have 2 or more fewer downs in your opponent. So basically the Sanji blocker, as long as you have less Dawn than your opponent, the Sanji blocker is considered to be cost 3 instead of a cost 6. Oh, okay. He plays the ace, and the ace skill allows him to minus power to your opponent. I believe it's minus 4k each. So yeah, let us. Was it minus 4k or minus? He does give out the minus power, so he can just swing, and if he procs the effect, okay, so he does proc the effect of RP law and bottoms the. I believe he bottomed the. Okay, I'm not sure. All right, does swing 5k, law 2, hog back, and just gives the hog back. What will be the next attack? So he still has the Absalom in hand. If he plays up okay, he will. Oh no, he doesn't. All right, so he does swing. He does copy the 5k power from the Absalom. Swings vanilla leader. So Jikko is now thinking of whether to guard it or not. And he does guard it. And then Dave chooses to pass turn. Technically, Ace has the rush. He can choose to attack, but he'd rather not give Jikko any more extra hand cards he can work with from the life. So he's choosing to pass the turn, which is an okay move. Right now, Jikko can play out now his hand. He has the Gecko Moria to work with. It's now 5k for the Absalom. Swing at the leader. Or he's probably swinging. Yeah, he's gonna swing at the Bonclay. Bonclay does die. Now 6 to leader. And he's not gonna proc the effect, so Dave knows that the Gecko Moria is coming. And will copy the power of the Gecko Moria. Now Shirayu is back to 6. And there he goes. Jikko pays the cost and plays the Gecko Moria. And then calls out the brand new and the Hogback. So brand new, he chooses to proc brand new and then will play Hogback skill. Is the card the return for the bark? Pretty sure he can't get. So if he does pass the turn, it's now back to Dave's turn. The RP law is actually working out well for him, but it's still weird because he doesn't have rush pieces, but at the same time he's playing very defensively. And he draws another Reiju. So you can choose to save it, and then call it from law skill to draw another 2 cards, as well as play another Bonclay. Well, he can play Bonclay first and then into the Reiju. So in his hand, he's gonna get replenished and sets up the board. Shiryu is now sitting 5k with the Reiju also at 5 and the Ace at 7 and RP Law at 5. So there's a lot of good defensive pieces also on the side of Jikko. There's plenty of 2k shields that he has from the draws. And does, okay, so he does play into the Reiju first to draw 2 cards. And he can still minus the Dawns if he wants to play another card from hand for free, as long as it's 4 cost or less. So he has more options to play whatever hand cards he has. But can he play out? Yeah, he can play the Bonclay at the end of the skill of RP Law. He will swing at the Absalom. Okay, so he's trying to minimize the amount of attackers that Jikko will have. You just set aside because it's freshly placed, so you cannot attack. Jikko has only a lot of 2k counters, as I believe in his hand is a 1k counter. So it does throw away the Sabo blocker. With his current hand state, it's not going to be that good, but it's okay. He has another Sabo in hand. An extra guard away that's fine. So Dave is still thinking what he can do with the extra attackers. He can still swing 2k, but he already knows that Jikko has the Peronas. Swings 7k to the Absalom. It does give it away. Will he allow the Shirayu? Absalom can no, the law can also at the brain. He was trying to minimize the amount of characters that Jikko will have. He can swing into the to the brand new, severely limiting the amount of characters. But at the same time, Moria can still fetch cards from the drop, from the trash. So it does play RP law skill. Oh, okay. So he does call out the Ace. Since Ace, he calls out the Sabo since he is considered cost 3 since he has less done than his opponent. I think they're calling out the judge for the cost skill because technically not Sabo, si Sanji, the Sanji blocker is cost -3 so long as your opponent has less dons, as long as you have less dons, 2 or less dons. So Law does swing at the leader for 7. Sheesh. 2, that's 2 blockers on field. And Moria with a pretty good hand. Just drew. Jikko can actually KO the Sanji blocker if he wants to. Does have the Sabo. Does have, I believe he has the Sindri I'm pretty sure that's a Sindri as well as the Ice Age. He can choose to slow down the game by playing the Sabo, and then can also call, if possible, any the Hogback I believe he has an extra hog. Oh no, he doesn't have an extra hog back. He only has the Absalom on his trash. If Jikko wants to set up his trash, he can play the Sindri. Sindri mills 5 cards from hand, from the top of deck rather. Oh, but it's not. He's gonna play into the uh Ice Age to give -5 cost to the uh, Sanji. Sanji now seeing at cost 1, and if he wants to, he can use Moria's skill to call out the Absalom again to KO the Sanji. Now Jiko is still thinking how to allocate his dawns for his attacks. He will have to use Moria's skill to be able to KO the Sanji. He's choosing not to play the Sindri, so that's fine. He does swing at the Reiju. Reiju is his target. Yeah, he's trying to minimize the amount of characters that Dave has on the board. So he will swing at the Reiju. Then he will pay the cost to discard 1 card from hand. The question is, what card is he willing to throw away? He has 2 Peronas as well as a Sindri as well as Sabo. The Sindri will have to be dropped. So Sindri is dropped, and Mill 2 does shows Rebecca and I believe another Perona. Does call out the Absalom. Absalom's skill will proc. Recycle 2 cards. The question is, what card is he trying to recycle? He will throw away the Sabo and take away the blocker. So now, still swinging 6k at Reiju. It's a 2k guard, but question is whether or not that's worth it to defend. The rest will be swinging. Since the Absalom is a freshly called character, he cannot attack, but the Hogback and the Gecko Moria can attack. That's a 5k and an 8k to guard. I presume that Jiko will swing at the will still swing at Reiju, but the Moria most likely will attack the Ace, since Ace is considered to be a big threat at this time. Jiko is still pretty healthy, so anything goes at this time. There's no complete win con yet. Does have a defensive hand. The 2Ks are gonna help. It is gonna help him to survive the other attackers, and does give away the Reiju. Moria still there. Is he going to try to attack the Ace, or will he just swing at Law? Reid is asking the skill of Shiryu. Shiryu will only copy the power of the leader. Sadly, he cannot copy the power of a character. For those who are wondering, the Shiryu is a pretty good blocker. So does swing Moria. Will he's gonna swing? Will the question is whether Dave will hand it over? Yeah, Dave will hand over the ace. Sadly, probably because he doesn't have a very good hand, but he's willing to let it go. Does Jiko does swing with 6k and the hog back to the leader. Question is whether or not. Okay, so Dave does throw out the Shiryu and the +1k. Now pay the 5 cost, and the Sabo comes out to draw 2 and discard 2. And he Jiko does not like those 2, and he does pass the turn. That's actually a pretty defensive play now. Jiko still has the 2 Peronas in his hand. That's a 4k guard, and a blocker at that. So if Dave wants to, he can minus the cost of minus the power of Ace, I know, of Sabo, and put it away. But the problem is he has to throw away a big chunk of hand just to do that. And right now, Dave doesn't have a very good rush hand. He has a ramp of he has the Zoro that allows him to ramp, as well as a queen. I think at this point the Zoro is actually pretty late. If he had the Zoro much earlier, he could have made use of it so that he can ramp up faster. At the same time, the skill of RP Law cost a significant is quite steep because that's Dawn -3, so you don't have that many Dawn to work with, but at the same time the skill is very good. So it's a trade off for what you get. They deciding how to plan his attack or plan his turn, whether to go defensively or just let it go. The problem is that the Moria still remains. He cannot touch the Moria, and even if he tries, he has the Sabo there to block it if he wants to swing. So he will just swing vanilla 5 to leader. The question is, Jikko take it or not? Wants to All he wants to block it with the Sabo. It's a free block because so free block. Reiju does attack for 5 now 5k at the attack. But the thing is, Jikko doesn't have that many hand to deal with. He's trying to save his hand as much as possible. That's two Peronas that he doesn't want to give away. But at the same time, he's pretty life healthy at this moment. And Dave has no big answer for the board that Jikko has already. And if he does, the cost of it to be played is actually pretty steep. So Jikko does take it, plays the 5 cost, and will play the Queen blocker to draw 2 and -1. Oh, he drew. I believe that was a Kitten Killer. I think Jiko's also trying to not make sure to get to 2 life, because when Kitten Killer enters the field, he has a rush. Oh, okay, he's throwing away the Kitten Killer because right now it's not gonna help. But at least that's 2 blockers, and he still can play the effect of RP Law, but at the same time that's actually very risky because he won't have play for the next turn. Okay, on the next turn, RP Law will only have 3 Dawns to work with, and there's not many things you can do with 3 Dawns, especially this late in the game because Jikko is gonna reach 10 Dawn. Oh, well, he already reached 10 Dawn, but it's yikes. So Dave does proc Law skill to play another blocker of Law, but because Jikko doesn't have that big of a hand, he cannot discard. But at least on the side of Dave, that's 3 blockers on field. Turn, he does draw. Oh, another blocker. That's Rebecca. Rebecca is actually very. If he's missing key pieces, he can just play the Rebecca, draw a hand, get a blocker for free. You can swing at the Reiju. Your opponent is basically so chokehold by the Moria. It's unbelievable. At the very least, 10 Dawn to work with. Quite a lot. Especially since Dave only has 3 hand cards. He can afford to swing small amounts in consecutive turns, so that will be 6. Question is whether or not he's gonna swing at leader or the Reiju. But I think he can afford to swing at the leader. Even though that Dave has 3 blockers. If they all die, then there's nothing he can do. 6k. I think he's still deciding which to target. So he does swing at the leader. Dave does take it. No trigger is proc. Hogback's attack also for 6k to leader. My god, Jikko is trying to set up the win con. It's like it doesn't have to be then and there, but even in the future turns, if he wants to save himself, I think it doesn't matter at this point. I see the Moria having the biggest hand advantage, especially since he has the Rebecca. He plays the Rebecca on field. He can cycle cards back to hand, and if he wants to get more 2k shields, save the Absalom as well as the Hogback, so that on the next turn he can just kill him from the flood of the attacks. Still has to go through 3 blockers, which is pretty plenty. And like I said, Dave has very little dawns to work with. And okay, so he does guard with the Queen blocker and throws away a 1k shield to keep it alive. And now Jikko will swing with the Moria. The Moria will just swing 5k vanilla. Okay. So Moria is going to attack leader for 5k. Unless he wants to proc any ability whatsoever. but I don't think he will. I don't think he needs to, especially since his hand is actually quite healthy. He can play Rebecca. I don't know what exactly is in his trash, but he does. Dave does take it, so he's now at the very dangerous part of the game. He's already at zero. Jikko just needs to find a way to minus cost any of his blocker on the next turn, and he's able to KO it, and he will be able to win the game on the next turn. And Jikko still has like what 2 or 3 life left, and he has one blocker in the field. Thinking about what he's going to do, but I think if I had to pick, the safer pick would be to. Oh, he has a 2C in hand. So I only just noticed now. So he has his 2C in hand, but it's a 9 cost. So I don't think he can play that. Just something with the Moria first. If he plays his 2C, he can KO a blocker in the next turn. And then he can just mass swing on his on the leader. So yeah, he does choose to play the safe play and play the Rebecca. So he's pretty much solidifying his win con at this point. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he has 5 characters now on field. He will get back the Borsalino from the Rebecca skill, and he will call over the Absalom, and he does pass the turn. Okay, Dave is now in a very precarious position, but he only has 3 Dawn, 2 blockers, and a Dream. He has the Penguins, but he can't play them. Well, technically he can, but it'll be at 0 Dawn after. But it wouldn't matter as much because his hand is going to die. He has 2 blockers. He has 5k attackers. And if Jikko wants, he can just call. Jikko just calls into. Well, technically he can play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can he afford it? Block into the Rebecca. Block Rebecca. Open one character on field. He can play. Depends on what he swings. Basically, he has 2 blockers to go through. Very precarious position. Yes, Jikko has like what 2 life, so Dave will try to attack the Hogback, but will not be able to succeed. Gets blocked by the Borsalino, 6k blocker. Leader will attack the Hogback, but will also be guarded by the Sabo. That's another 6k blocker. And all that's left is okay. He placed into the Zoro, and chooses to call the Zoro's RP Law skill to bottom the Rebecca blocker and play into the. Oh yes, he plays the Kidding Killer. He will attack the Hogback, but I'm pretty sure Jikko can just sacrifice his entire 2 hand to keep it alive, and then play into Stussy the next turn to kill him. But he chooses not to. He will hand over the Hogback. So it's now Jikko's turn. Is in a zone to be able to kill him. It doesn't have to be that big of a hand. Draws the. Oh, he hasn't drawn yet. Okay, draws the turn. Oh, and he gets Gecko Moria. Still 0 shield, but if he plays the Gecko Moria, he can call back the guarders, the blockers. Oh god, they all hurt. Okay, so Jikko will swing 7, but that's still guardable in Dave's hand. 2k is the only way to block Gecko Moria leader. If he uses the 1 blocker field, Jikko can play 2C, and then the characters can just swing. Okay, so 2k from the penguin, 2k guard from the penguin. Let's see, penguin. It'll be Borsalino swing. Oh, he chooses not to. Okay, so if he attaches Dawn now, he cannot 2C anymore. But he can still play into Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria forces the call of the Rebecca and gets more hand cards. Actually, really good. Either way, sakit siya. So he's asking about the power of the Kidding Killer. The Kidding Killer is only at 5k. Oh, he's choosing to take back the attacking Borsalino. Will swing with the 8 cost Okay, so he does choose to block it. Uh, Depending on, he doesn't know what's on the hand of Dave, so he cannot choose. He cannot afford it. So he will pay. He will pay 6. No, you're only at 5. So he will attach 3. All right. So he will give 9 to Borsalino. Borsalino's guards, and no, he doesn't. Dave knows he cannot guard anymore, so he surrenders. Jikko wins. Jikko wins with Gecko Moria. Well played to Jikko for that. Jikko will go ahead and start the round. Does get the one done and does play. Okay, he does play her and will mill out 5 cards. And, and now James' turn plays the Enel. Cannot play anything, so he has to pass the turn. So Jikko will play Gecko Moria skill. The question is, what will he throw away? He will throw away the Hogback and will play at the Perona. James will take the first hit, swings vanilla at and will pass. Okay. That is a new card I've not seen. Is that Frankie? Okay, so it is Frankie. The skill of Frankie is that when it triggers, he gets to draw one, and if he has if he has 1 life or less, then he can play it for free. Frankie is actually pretty good. Now it's Jiko's turn. 5k. 5 dons rather. Oh, he has 2 Gecko 8 cost Morias in his hand. And he has a healthy trash that he can work with. So it's quite toolboxy on what he can use it for. Swings Perdona first for 6k. James will take the first hit and does play the Onami to KO the Perona. And Moria swings 7k. Still deciding what to discard, but I'm pretty sure he will discard at least one of the Moria. Does discard one of the Moria and mills out Granny and Rebecca. Oh god. And does call out the Perona, but he doesn't get the minus discard hand rather. So James will pay 5 cost to KO. Okay. And he passes the turn. Does not want to give Moria any more hand necessarily does. Does pass the turn. Does swing a leader, does have 3 life now on the side of Jikko. Enel down to 1, I believe looks like down to 1. He is down to 1. Still very healthy. Swing 6 to leader. No, is it swing to leader or swing to Frankie? Oh, he's swinging to Frankie. So he just needs to guard 2k. Does guard with the Beige. Pays 6. And I believe he will call. Oh, what is he paying for 6? Gidatsu is doing work. But what will he play for the cost 6? He's still a 6 Dawn. He can play Borsalino for the block. So that he will be able to. No, he cannot. He's still 1 turn delayed on the sign of James. He can still play literally any other card. He does have the Shirohoshi in hand, but I wouldn't play the Shirohoshi this early. Still a 2k counter. Will he pay for the Borsalino or okay? So 6 costs. He will play. Ooh, he will KO Gidatsu. He will play Sakazuki to KO Gidatsu. Because he still has to trash 1 card from hand to be able to KO 1 character 5 cost or less. So it's now back to James' turn. Swing 5 vanilla to Moria and plays Katakuri to put Sakazuki back on the bottom of the life of Moria. So that's 1 dead card on the side of Jikko for the life anyway. So Jikko swings 6k again to Frankie, which will be blocked by the Beige. And then now Jikko will go ahead and play the Gecko Moria. The question is, what will he toolbox from the trash? So does get the Borsalino and the brand new skill procs. Trashes 3 to get 1. He does get another Borsalino, so that's another blocker on the side of Jikko. Enel now at the perfect spot. 10 Dawn. Plays Shirohoshi for 5 cost. To draw 3 and discard 2. So discards. Okay. Still has 5 Dawn to work with. So discard Rygo. That's okay. Swings Frankie at the barn brand new, but brand new swings 5k. Swing 5k to leader. He does swing to leader. Question is whether or not he will guard with Borsalino. Borsalino is still 6, but that's also at the threat of category, and does allow it to pass. The girl gets good Datsu rather. Sorry. Back to Jikko. He still has another Moria he can play here. He will cycle back the Borsalino if he wants to. The reject technically could be live, but I don't think James will be able has a reject in hand. I did see the discard event in his hand to be able to block 3k. Swing fives for does swing 5 at Frankie, trying to limit the amount of attackers on James's side, and so James does give it away. But James has an extra Karakuri in hand. He's more than willing to be able to block it if he wants to. Jikko with a very healthy hand will be able to play it again. So swing at Katakuri with the Moria, 10k to the 8k. That's a 3k guard, and he does have it. The problem is whether or not he is going to discard. Guard 3 hand size on the side of James. He will be able to block it, but he also has to sacrifice the same copy of the card. He wants to keep the category alive in his hand for the next turn. And Jikko does not want to get attack James on his on that one last card because he will be able to save himself. And Jikko does double call into the Borsalino as well as the Sabo. So Jikko draws 2 and has to discard 2. Jikko deciding now the next plan for his next turn. He has 3 blockers. He's actually in a very solid position. James has very little hand cards. He only has 2 hand cards. Jikko with a healthy hand as well as plenty of blockers. He can call out into the Gecko Moria to get another blocker if he wants to. He can also fetch out the Rebecca or the another Borsalino, but Borsalino would be better. It does throw away the Rebecca and the brand new from what I can see. But Jikko still has the Ice Age, the Moria, the Granny, and I believe, Parona. So he has plenty of hand. Question is, what will James sacrifice to play? You can technically play Katakuri to put Shirahoshi into the life. Gedatsu can attack leader, but Jikko can just block with just his Borsalinos or even his Sabo because they're all 6k at the moment. So a vanilla 5k will not be that big of a deal. Oh, but Gedatsu is 6k. So you can still sacrifice 1k guard from his hand. His hand is pretty healthy, so it's fine. Unless James for some reason will play a 10 cost Big Mother, but I don't think he has. At the very least, he should have what's at the very least Yamato or Ace. I don't think it will. That's 2 cost to. Oh, he's playing Amaru. Okay, he plays the Amaru to rest one of the blockers. Does rest the Borsalino, but he still has to go through 2 blockers. That's Gedetsu will swing Borsalino. Jikko deciding whether to just give it or not. They're much keep it alive. Blocker's a blocker, but 6k. Sheesh. So Amaru, your leader, he gives the James gives the 3k to the Enel, which will also swing at the Borsalino. Jikko deciding whether to just give it, but I don't think he can be able to block it anyway. Either way, he's gonna have to block it with he has to block, and it's not that big of a deal. Katakuri, he still has an 8 Dawns to play. James can play the Shirohoshi, play for the trigger. Okay, so Jikko doesn't have the trigger from that, but he does play the Stussy. Okay, so James puts the Gecko Moria cost 8 cost into the life. Jikko now back to back, which is fine because technically they are dead cards. So Jikko, this is actually a much faster game. Searching now at the trash, what cards have came out? What are the possible cards that might not? James takes the first hit from the Sabo. He does decide whether to proc it or not. It's a Shirohoshi. Oh my god. Does get the 3 draw and trash 2. And will be able to heal one more time from Enel, but he has to discard. Okay, he discards the Yamato. And I believe he also discarded one of the extra Yamatos for that attack. So James takes the next hit. Does not proc. Will play everything and Jikko wins! Such a fast game. Jikko can't win against everyone in this tournament. Ives does start off with the Lucci and play uses the the currently banned card that will be banned on April. Yeah, that is the Great Eruption. So it does pay it to draw one more and pass the turn. Jikko gets the 2 Dawn. What will he play? He plays the grade cost 1 character that allows him to throw away throw away the top 5, which might help or not help. Okay, it does kind of help. He does have the brand new, does have the Absalom, a Gecko Moria. I saw a Borsalino, I believe, and a. I'm not sure of the last one. Back to Ives' turn. He will play. Lucci's turn does swing for. Oh, does swing for 8 and mills out 3. Now it's back to Ives. To Jikko. Swings with a 7 to leader. Mills the top 2. Rebecca and a plays out the Hogback. Will fetch the Gecko Moria. The Gecko Moria early game, I guess that's it returns back the Gecko Moria and the Absalom. And does pass the turn. Okay. So believe does blocked it. Okay. So there's still so Lucci swings. Lucci's skill is that it trashes top 2 and your opponent's character's -1 cost for the turn. He can minus cost the Hogback or the girl, but he doesn't want to. He plays out. He plays out Kaku. On skill of Kaku, place you may return 2 cards with CP in its type form from your trash, put to bottom of the deck, and KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3 or less. So it does KO the Hogback, and now it'll be back to Jikko's turn. 6 or 7. Yeah, Jikko has 6 Dawn to work with. Okay, Jikko plays. Okay, Jikko plays Helmepo and gives up to 1 character minus 3 cost for the turn. Will minus cost the Kaku. And Kaku is KO'd by the Absalom due to the skill that is called back from Moria skill. So as you can see, this is why I say Moria is like, in terms of board building and like control, Moria is very, very good because it can call any character from the trash that can just freely KO any target and can build the board at the same time. So you have a character that can control your opponent's field, cannot work with anything. Ives has to play slow. Jikko has an okay hand, but I'm surprised that Lucci has actually a very, very healthy hand. Lucci swings 7 leader and chooses not to proc the skill. Will he proc the skill? Okay, he will proc the skill to minus the cost of Absalom. It's now -1. Does mill out the stage and looks like Borsalino. Could not tell. So it's -7k to leader. He does take it. Question is what will be Ives' next move? He has 5 Dawn to work with. Can play defensive turn. Can also choose to pass. But that will also give the advantage to Jikko because he will play the Gecko Moria that he just fetched out. Will play the Rebecca that is also laying on his trash. Will pay the 5 cost. and we'll play Kaku. Kaku skill will be able to KO the. Okay, so does he have enough CP or type? I don't think he does. He cannot KO. Oh, he can't KO. Okay, so Kaku cannot. Kaku is not procced. I thought he can, but so Kaku does not proc the KO for Absalom. He's choosing not to pay the cost. I'm pretty sure he has enough CP to pay the cost to minus the cost of Absalom, but I'm thinking that he doesn't want to pay it because the moment Absalom returns back on field, he's going to KO again one of his Ives' characters. So Jikko is deciding how he's going to play. He will eventually play the Gecko Moria. He will fetch out blockers just for his turn. He does have the Rebecca and possibly the Borsalino. If he plays the Rebecca, he can fetch another 2k shield that he can work with for his defense. Kaku is just gonna stay healthy for a while. Ives' hand is also pretty healthy, but it's also, from what I saw, a lot of events. 8 active Dawn, but is he choosing to play? No, he will choose not to play. Okay, he will swing. He will swing Helmepo for 5k to leader. Interesting. He will play the 5k to the leader. So is he going to play? Does get blocked. Then swing with the Absalom for 7k to leader. That's a plus 3k counter to be able to block it. And Ives does guard it with plus 3k. Jikko casts and plays Moria skill. Active discard one. He has an extra Moria in his, so he can afford to. So he does lose the Moria. Mills 2. Oh, okay. He does get the other Absalom. Is he gonna play the other Absalom? He will play the other Absalom to KO the Kaku. So it does return the 2C and the Ice Age to KO the Kaku. So Ives is back to 0 on the board again. Oh, this is so bad. It does, but still blocks it on the side of Ives. Now start of the turn and draw. His hand is quite big, but he cannot answer the entire board of Jikko. That's four attacks, and he still has the extra. He still has the extra Moria in his hand that he can use. If it swings normal, 5k to Absalom and does mill, and give minus cost to the Absalom. Oh, he is trash. He cannot do anything with the trash. That's 5k to 5k with a minus cost on the side of Jikko. Jikko does guard it. Guards 1k for that. Lucci is now Ives now going through his trash, thinking that he can probably make a play here. Most likely a recycle of the CPOs or the CPs. What can he fetch? Or what can he recycle to be able to at least bring down the burden of his board? What can he play? Because as long as those as the field remains big, he can't really do much. We'll play the Great Eruption to minus cost to the other Absalom. So one is cost 3 and the other one is cost 2. And does get the draw from the Great Eruption. We'll play the Gecko Moria. Now the question is, what will he play from the Gecko Moria? And we'll play the Rebecca. So he will be able to cycle cards and fetch something. And does play the Helmepo. So Helmepo skill is to give minus 3 cost to one of your opponent's characters. So the Absalom now is at, or should be at 0. Let's get the minus 1 cost from the Rob Lucci and the other one from Helmepo. Now Rebecca's skill procs does play Spandine. Spandine allows him to return 3 CP cards from trash to bottom of the deck, and he can play any one cost. He can play one cost 4 or lower CP card that is not expanding from trash as rested. So he can play. Yeah, he can play the Uh, he can play the Rob Lucci to KO uh the two Absaloms, and that should be the end of the turn. It's now back to Jikko's turn. Oh, that's actually pretty good. He was able to control the board and as well as bring up his entire field just from one card because of Gecko Moria. This is why I said the 8 cost Gecko Moria can do so much just for his own just from his own skill. Oh god, that's actually very good. Now back to Jiko's turn. He has 5 hand cards to work with. He can still play another Gecko Moria. And if he chooses to play the Absalom, he can only KO. Okay, so it's gonna be the mirror for the Helmepo. Swing 1. Okay, swings leader. Swings a Lucci for 7. Doesn't pay the cost because he still has the Gecko Moria in hand to be able to call from trash, and does play the Gecko Moria. So he can choose to play the defensive turn or the offensive turn. Either way, it's gonna be very good. He can choose to play. Actually, can he even KO one character? I don't think he can. So he can choose to play defensively. He can pull out the Rebecca to fill up his board and get a defensive card to his hand, get a free blocker, and I believe he can get the. That is one way to do it. If he plays offensively, what cost 4 can he call to minus to KO the Rob Lucci? If it's not the Rob Lucci, it's the Rebecca that at the very least that you want to KO. He can play one Absalom. He can play Rebecca. Jikko is now deciding what is the good play here, or at least the very more optimal play. So he does play the Absalom, and will he play Suru? If he plays Suru, okay, he does play the Suru, but why is he taking away? He has 5 cards. Okay, so he does know. So he plays the Suru to give minus cost to one of his opponent's characters. He does give the minus power to Lucci, and because of Absalom's skill, he will KO the Lucci. So he still has to decide which cards to return to the bottom of the deck. Does return the Absalom and one other card, and thus I believe he passes the turn. Yep, he passes the turn. Now Ives' turn. Now in this particular matchup, I am actually expecting both sides to go back and forth because there's going to be a lot of board control. Especially since both of them are trying to fill up the board as much as possible and KO your opponent's board at the same time. So Ives plays the Spandam. Spandam allows him to check top 3, reveal 1 CP type, and then the rest to the trash. Plays out the Stussy and KOs the Gecko Moria. So he doesn't see if there is a hogback. If there is no hogback, then you should be safe to be able to KO the. Well, it's also still a very big threat to KO the Gecko Moria. And now Lucci swings, I believe, at leader. Will be guarded 1 cost by Sabo. Moria swings leader, and no, Jikko does not have a trigger and does pass the turn. It's now Jikko's turn. 4 characters on board and 10 done with 2 life. He draws. Did he draw into? Okay, he draw into Rebecca. So defensive hand on the side of Jikko. The Rebecca. Either way, if Ives gets cards that allows the minus cost on the Rebecca, that's already pretty good, especially since he can just swing at leader for 3 each. Because there's not much he can do. Also, Jikko has a Sabo in his hand, so he can afford to pay the Sabo. Because Sabo right now is like what? Two. Gonna be 6k. If Jikko plays the Sabo and the Rebecca combined, Ives cannot touch those 2. They cannot be KO'd by card effects because of Sabo's skill. So either way, it's gonna be very, very difficult for Ives to be able to block it. If Ives does have a Sabo in his hand, he can play the Sabo in the next turn to uh be able to keep the Rebecca alive. Or if not, at the very least, Jikko can also swing vanilla so that he can at the very least make sure that his opponent cannot be able to have a more secure hand for the next turn. But still, Jiko with the Sabo and the Rebecca hand, that's actually very, very, very defensive. It's actually very good. Okay, Jiko does swing 6k. Moria on the leader will be blocked by the Rebecca. Still has Dawn to work with. So let's pay all 9. Oh, he will pay for Stussy. Stussy does go online. Why is he KOing? Oh yeah, he can put one character into trash. Stussy takes away the Tsuru to be able to KO one of your opponent's characters. He can choose to KO another the Ives is Stussy or Gecko Moria. I think the more ideal way to do it is just to KO the Stussy. Stussy is the bigger threat compared to Moria for now. And if Ives finds a way to get the Moria, I don't think so. Okay, so he does KO the Moria instead. So now it's Ives' turn. Back to drawing the card. Does he have another Stussy to take care of the other Stussy? Jiko only has two life left with 4 hand, while Ives has a very healthy hand. Oh my god, I don't know. That's actually his trap. Anton with the suisei, Kyo no Kai, Jomo Chisai. He was still thinking, what can he work with on his trash? It's already loaded with a lot of CP cards. I don't know if he can. What can he play from his hand that is worth to play? I think he has another Gecko Moria in hand to be able to cycle through. If he plays the Gecko Moria, the very least he can get out again would be the Rebecca. But for the 2 cost, what can he call for his 2 cost? There is Spandam. There is Helmepo. Because if you're playing 4 cost Rebecca, I'd rather just play it for Spandam or Helmepo. Probably Suru, but thinking long and hard. Actually, surprised. There is a back and forth of board control expected for black. Since the current meta heavily favors on board control. Okay, so Ives has decided to swing 7. I believe he's going to swing at leader. And minus cost. Will he? He has to discard to be able to. Oh no, he has to mill before he can minus cost. Okay, so he does trash. Question is, what will he -1 2? Oh, so he minuses 1 the Helmepo. He can call it Lucci actually. Call Lucci. Moria will be able to call out. If he calls out a card from trash, he can call out Absalom. He can hog back. I'm not seeing a hog. I think. Oh yeah, I can see the hog back now. Hog back is there. That's one way to set up a hand. But at the same time, your hand is your defensive is not that great, but still, you can still delay 1 turn to be able. You can still delay 1 turn to be get a card that is useful for you. So, like right now, I saw an ice -5 cost. To see on the side of Ives. Jikko will that can KO 4 costs or less, or he can force a call to be able to win. Okay, so he does call out to get them. Tashigi is gone. He does throw away. Oh god, there's the Gecko Moria. Fill up the field yet again with the Rebecca getting a free call. Spandam as well as Helmepo comes back on field. Expected there will be minus cost. Uh, Plays the Lucci and recycles back. The KO goes to the. Okay, so it does go to the Absalom as well as the Helmepo, and the turn is passed. But it won't matter as much later Because Jikko still has the Sabo and the Rebecca as well in it. But he can still call cards. Yes, skill. Get to draw. Yes, has the Ice Age. Oh, the Perona. Wait, what happened to Sabo? Okay, so it does describe the Sabo. Drew into Lucci. Lucci? No, it's not Lucci. But still, Perona. Does get the Perona and the. Because still thinking what he can do. His trash is still pretty filled that he can use Moria skill, but is he willing to go ahead and he's going to think is it's a Helmepo, my bad. So he does have a Helmepo. He has the Ice Age, the Rebecca, and the Perona to work with, but he cannot get in another Moria anymore. So next turn, if Ives will be able to control the field again, because the Rebecca is still there, he can still KO. It can KO now the Rebecca if he has the hand to do it, but his hand is also pretty low. Both Ives at 2 with Jikko at 1. If Jikko does not want to give Ives any hand advantage or anything to work with, he has to pass the turn to be able to make sure that he does not get anything that will help with this advantage. The Rebecca should help in harvesting cards from the trash. So, what is the move for Jikko? So, thinking in time. Okay, so I think Jikko is gonna have to swing with leader first. What's he pay the cost? Swing with technically there is a way for swing with leader minus cost on Rebecca. Absalom from trash, but it really help. He can technically play Absalom, pay one cost to minus KO it with Absalom for your skill. He can just swing to enemy characters. Okay, so he does choose to swing for the enemy characters. Uh, Still deciding. So Jikko is at an impasse actually. He's still deciding what to do. Not deciding. He's still deciding whether to finalize Mapo. Does go for it. 5k to 3k. Ives does give it away. Trying to control the field by just attacking on the characters, but I don't think he is willing to let that happen. He can swing Stussy at the Lucci, the character Lucci, but I'm sure Ives guard it with the. Okay, he will swing Stussy at the Lucci, definitely. Will guard it with the Rebecca. And now Jikko can play this entire hand if he wants to. He does play 4 cost Rebecca. So the Rebecca comes out. He will cycle to the trash. He will fetch out the Sabo. Sabo skill procs, and both of them are safe from any chaos from hand. And he does get to draw. And he has to discard card. So that will be the end of Jikko. So Jikko will have 2 blockers that are that cannot be KO'd for this turn. So at the very least, Ives will have to swing normally, or will have to swing at the or will have to swing at to at least -1. But definitely, Ives is thinking how he can attack. Stutzi is a big threat on the side of Jikko, but Ives is still in 2 damage, so he can afford it. He will swing at the Stutzi. If Jikko will can technically block it, he has the 2k guard if he wishes to throw it away. He also has the 1k guard. But no, he's choosing to take it. Okay, so he's down to 1 life. He's down to no life at all. Ives has no guards yet. Oh, he will play the 10 cost. Well, no, if he pays the 10 cost, no, he won't be able to work against the 2 blockers. Jikko has 2 blockers. Ives can actually. Okay, so Jikko draws the brand new from the life. For your win con, you still have a very big hand. Okay, Will's attach 4 Dawn, 10k to leader. That will be 10k to leader. I don't know why he rested that. And Jikko throws away his entire hand. That keeps him up alive. He has 2 blockers left. So he can choose to attack, but the Stussy will also remain alive. Either way, Ives will have to swing at the Stussy, but it can still be blocked. Either way, Jikko can just guard the last 2 attacks. He has the entire hand to throw away. So he does throw away the Rebecca. If he swings with the leader, he has to block with the Sabo. And I believe the Sabo will swing. Okay, swing Sabo. Does throw it away and he does pass the turn. Jikko will only have 1 hand left. And it has a lot of trash to work. It just needs to guard the last 2 attacks, but oopsies. There's a big oops. No, that's okay. Ives at 4 hand. Jikko only at 1 hand. He cannot do anything anymore with that hand. He has to swing at leader for 1k each. So from her, that is 2, 4, 6, 7. That is 7 on the leader. He has no choice but to do it because his hand is I don't know what he drew into his last hand, but it's not gonna work. It's gonna swing 8. Oh, okay, he's still deciding. The very last, make it count. That will be to who? I think Jikko is okay. He will swing 9 to leader, I presume, or he will. Yeah, he will. He has to swing at leader. Sadly, he cannot do anything else anymore. Last 3 attacks, make it count. Love 7 Dawn, Moria at 8. Ives just needs to guard with 4k counter. Will he finalize it? He will swing 8k leader. Just needs a 4k guard. If he has the 4k guard, Jikko cannot anymore. That's it. Jikko surrenders. Ives is your flagship champion of March 30, 2024. Congratulations to Ives for the Rob Lucci deck.